Everybody, happy Tuesday. I keep forgetting to put my phone on do not disturb when I film. So happy Tuesday. We are gonna do another budgeting and abundance series. I have a lot of stuff. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of stuff to talk to y'all about and to update you on. So yeah, I'm just trying to get everything situated in front of me. So today we are in the second week of October. It's the second Tuesday if you're watching this live, or the second Wednesday if you're tuning in online after I've uploaded this to social media. So I'm going to give you guys a budget update. And today we're going to be talking about how to pick a side hustle. But before that, I have a few things, a few updates for y'all and my budget that I want to tell you about. So I went back in my bank statements for September and kind of calculated how much money I was spending freely, like really random spur of the moment purchases that were not in my budget. Now I have a few side hustles. I have a lot of income cushion, if you will, that I can put towards necessities and bills that need to be paid. So I've been really bad with frivolous spending, and I didn't realize that it was as bad as it is until I went back in my September bank statements and saw how much money I was just spending willy-nilly. So I added everything up for September, y'all, and I spent $218.54 extra that like wasn't accounted for. And I can tell you right now, majority of that was on Uber Eats. Uber Eats is amazing, but majority of that is on Uber Eats. I'm not a big breakfast person, or I don't think about eating like right when I wake up. Like I'll eat breakfast like around 10, 11, and that's usually when I'm already out and about. So I'll just stop and get something random and fast that's most likely not healthy for me. So one of my goals, and one of the things that I'm sharing with y'all for accountability, is now sharing with y'all my frivolous spending. So I don't believe in really doing things cold turkey. I believe in kind of decreasing or increasing over time. So my goal for October is to not go above 218. Now, it is October 9th, and for the month of October, I'm already at $125.72, $125.72 that I've spent extra. And majority of that was on pageant expenses. I told myself that I wasn't going to get my nails done for this month, but I went ahead and did it anyway because my mom and I were out of town at pageant weekend and we needed to kill some time. So we went to the nail salon to kill some time. And that was like $80. And then the rest of it is on food. We went to Chick-fil-A like 3 times on pageant weekend. So little things here and there that I'm trying to be a little more cautious about. So really, I'm going to try really hard not to do any more frivolous spending for the month of October. So that's just a transparent moment with y'all there, and I will check in with y'all at the end of the month. Let me make a note that this frivolous spending is on October 9th, or October 9th, so I don't count for anything extra. So yeah, so another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is I realized that I kind of never explained the inspiration or the why or the purpose of this budgeting and abundance series. I just kind of wanted to share that a little bit with y'all before we hop into the topic and before we hop into the budget. So when I graduated college at 22 years old, I moved into my first apartment with a roommate like a week after graduation. Like I was not going back home. I have a lovely home life and lovely parents. I just have a very strong independent streak. I had already established a life for myself away from home. I loved the town. I loved the work and the atmosphere, and I just didn't want to go back home. I just felt that there was nothing there for me. And having to pay bills and pay back my loans and really provide for myself with like little financial support from my parents because I didn't want to ask for money, was a wake-up call. Like, it was hard, and it was a wake-up call, like a true wake-up call. And I was just like, you know, I need help. I need God. I need, you know, something that's going to get me through this. So I really began to educate myself on money and personal finance and debt. I got really into Dave Ramsey and just kind of trying to teach myself more so that I could be a better steward over my money, so I could manage my money better, so I could stop going into debt and really develop patience and rid myself of the instant gratification that money supports. And I think that's kind of the biggest reason why so many people are in debt, because we don't have the patience to save. But that's another topic. So yeah, I just really became passionate about money management and personal finances, especially among millennials, especially among my generation, because at the current age that most of us are in, we're the ones, you know, making the big investments, getting ready to buy houses. We're at the age where, like, we're moving out of our parents' place for the first time and, you know, going into the workforce. And, you know, we're the next generation of people that's making, like, those big adult, you know, those grown-up investments. So how we're managing our money potentially, you know, not potentially, but it does influence the micro and macro economics of our country, and it also determines, like, the longevity of our financial wealth or our financial stresses individually. So I just got really passionate about personal finance, and lately it's just been on my heart to share, especially as I'm moving into a better season of my finances, and I'm seeing everything that I've learned and applied pay off with the situations and financial situations that I'm in now. And I decided to kind of name this Budgeting in Abundance, because when people think of budgeting initially, it's like, oh, rules, I can't do this, I can't do that, when in actuality, a budget gives you control over your money and not vice versa. But I want people to know that even in the beginning stages of something new, like budgeting, where you feel restrained and you have to grow in that discipline, you can have, you know, abundance in that, because it's short-term pain for a long-term gain. So even in the hardest things that are molding you and where you're gaining discipline, you can have abundance in those things too. And it's also stems, like, when I moved out of my parents' place and was kind of like being hit with and overwhelmed with the financial responsibilities that come with being an adult. You know, I just really prayed over, you know, my finances, and I prayed for God to continuously provide and make a way. And I've grown so much in my faith of God's provision over my life. And one of the verses that has kind of helped me through this growth is 2 Corinthians 1:9. Let me find it for y'all. Give y'all a word. My pages in my Bible are really thin, y'all. Okay, so I'll give y'all a word. I'm reading from New Living Translation. So 2 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 9. My Bible says the collection for Christians in Jerusalem. And just this whole thing is so good. So starting at verse 8, it says, and God will generously provide all you need. Then you will always have everything you need and plenty left over to share with others. As the scriptures say, they share freely and give generously to the poor. Their good deeds will be remembered forever. And going on to verse 10, for God is the one who provides seeds for the farmer and then bread to eat. In the same way, he will provide and increase your resources and then produce a great harvest of generosity in you. You will be enriched in every way so that you can always be generous. And when we take your gifts to those who need them, they will thank God. And this verse those verses are really kind of full circle for me, because now that I'm in a place where I feel confident in my finances and in God's provision and pouring into that, I'm like, okay, like, God, what more do you want me to do? Where do you want me to give? And it's been just a really, really awesome kind of growth for me. Testimony time for y'all. So, I recently started tithing consistently. Probably like in August, because God has really, really, really kind of been blessing me and giving me abundance, giving me overflow, giving me options, as to like where I want to work, how I want to work, who I want to work with, and giving me extra and really giving me choices. And so August, well, first, it was just on my heart to, to tithe and to be good about my money. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, Lord, like, give me resources, give me knowledge. So I came across Michael Todd's at Transformation Church, his sermon series on tithing. Y'all, it is so good. If you haven't watched that and relationship goals, just go watch it. I still need to watch Planted But Not Buried. Like, that's on my watch list too. And so, I got the basis of, tithing being a test, tithing being the one thing that God, allows us to challenge him on, like, tithe and see if I won't bless you kind of thing. And, I got the concept of, 10% being the minimum. And I was like, okay, like, this sounds good. I'm going to do this. So for July and August and September, I tithed my 10%. Now, last month in September, I decided for October that I wanted to bump up my 10% to 5. I wanted to give my 10 to the church and give 5 to something or someone else, because it's just I just want to do more, and it's been on my heart to be generous and to give more. So I was like, you know what, God, like, tell me where you want this extra 5% to go. So a few weeks ago, so my kind of like millennial Bible study group that I go to is called the Bridge Kickback. Y'all look for them on Instagram. Our kind of leader was telling me a little bit that he was feeling just a tad bit financially burdened with kind of buying supplies to set the atmosphere and things like that. So he told me this a week after I told God, like, okay, I'm going to do this 15%. Tell me where you want this 5% to go. So he told me that. And so we just had, I'm going live right now on Tuesday. Y'all will probably see this on Wednesday when it's uploaded. So we had Bible study yesterday, Monday. And so Sunday, he reached out to everyone. And y'all, like, God is so powerful and so amazing. And once you make a decision to, like, do something and let him know, he moves so impactfully. So when I was like, okay, God, like, tell me where you want this 5% to go, like, I asked God, like, give it to me multiple times, because, like, I'm just that type of person, and I'm getting to a place spiritually where, I'm learning to hear God for myself and learning to hear how he speaks to me through others. And I really just want to be clear about hearing him. So I asked him to give me instructions multiple times through different avenues, so that I can say, hey, I saw it and heard it here, saw it and heard it here, saw it and heard it here. It has to be clear. So what was I saying? So our leader, a week after I presented my 15% to God and asked him to tell me where to go, a week later, my leader told me kind of about the financial stress that he was under. And so we had Bible study yesterday on a Monday. Sunday, he reached out to everyone and was like, hey, if anyone wants to contribute to Monday night, cash at me. And, it's going to go towards the ministry. And I was like, yes, that is my green light to give my 5%. So it's really been great, and it's really been full circle. I could talk about, like, abundance and God's provision and personal finance forever. So that's just kind of, a little testimony. that I wanted to share with y'all. So now for tonight's topic, we're gonna be talking about how to pick a side hustle. Okay. So let me go ahead and Google side hustle for y'all. I'm sorry, I did not already have that definition up. Y'all know I like to have definitions. I'm just ask. It's like number 8 on the list. I thought it would have been a more common question. Okay, definition of a side hustle. A side hustle is any type of employment undertaken in addition to one's full-time job. A side hustle is generally freelance or a piecework in nature, providing a supplemental income. I agree with that. So today we're going to talk about how to pick one. So I would say my first piece of advice for picking your side hustle is check your skills. Evaluate the skills that you're not getting paid for. What are you good at? What else are you good at? What else are you good at that, people would be willing to pay for in service or skill? And after I give you guys these tips, I'm going to give you an example of how I went about my current side hustle. Number 2, your side hustle should be something that allows you to work smarter and not harder. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to kind of implement your side hustle. And number 3, which is what I think most people slack up on, a side hustle is a side hustle, but it's also something that people are paying for. So you want to make sure that whether it's a service or whatever it is, you want to make sure that it's polished and that it's professional, and that you're handling it as a professional, as if it is, your full-time job or your main income. So if that means, investing a little bit in business cards, speaking professionally, booking appointments, putting things on your calendar, being committed to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Be committed to your side hustle. Make sure that it is polished and make sure that it is professional. Okay, my voice is getting a little dry, so I'm going to have a drink. Y'all, it's about to be fall time. People are getting sick. Kids are getting sick. If you don't know about Red Rock, you need to get on it. Okay, so with all these things, I'm going to show you how I applied them. I think I'll look at my chin there. So my current side hustle is I teach voice and piano to kids Saturday mornings from 9 to 10:30. So I currently, probably like 11:30 now. So I have 5 students in my home studio. I teach out of my home. I already had access to a baby grand piano, so a lot of work didn't have to go into it. And I teach in increments of 30 minutes, and I charge $30. So $1 a minute. I do have a music degree. I do have the experience. I do have credits in piano proficiency, which is also why I just stick to teaching kids. I can do a lot for a kid on the piano, not so much for an adult on the piano. So make sure you know your worth and what you can offer, long term in your side hustle. So it's enabling me to work smarter and not harder because I pretty much already had access to the things that I needed. I have a year of teaching experience, and I already had access to a piano and a quiet place to teach. As far as making it professional and promoting it and keeping it polished, I promoted myself strictly word of mouth on Facebook. I'm a live-in nanny, so I already know a lot of families and a lot of people who have kids, so I just kind of told them about it, and the word spread. I have not invested in business cards or anything like that, but I am really clear on how I teach with potential parents and with potential students. I have paperwork. I have a whole binder and lesson plans and things like that for my students. So I invested more so on the professional side when it comes to teaching and having curriculums and lessons and piano books and things like that for my kids. I didn't invest so much on the promotional side. So yeah, you guys, that's an example of my side hustle. Currently, my side hustle brings in about $600 extra a month. So between like 5 kids, and if they're all having 30-minute lessons once a week, that's like $120 a kid. So a month, $120 per kid per month. So that's just an example of my side hustle. I know the ones that are really popular are obviously like Lyft and Uber and things like that. Your side hustle, the biggest point I want you to get out of it is, if it's not your full-time job, it shouldn't take the time of a full-time job, and it should be something that you already have ample resources to kind of implement and stay consistent and steady with. So that is that. Oh, before I show you guys the budget, one thing I wanted to get into that I forgot to mention. So when I was talking earlier about extra money that I was just like spending for September, that $218.54, I was kind of upset with myself because if you guys have checked in on my what is it called, Insta story lately, so I'm also gonna start telling y'all like my financial goals. So here it goes. So for October, I mentioned this last week, I'm going to pay off a credit card this month that has a little under a $1,500 balance. And I was really upset with myself about kind of upset with myself about my frivolous spending, because that was $200 that could go to a credit card, or that could go towards the makeup vanity that I'm going to gift myself, one for Christmas and two as a reward for paying off my credit card. I think it's important to gift yourself and to, pat yourself on the back for reaching your goals. So I'm going to show it to you guys. So it's a vanity that looks something like this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Impressions Vanity. Look them up on Insta. But that's what I want. And this is like a $1,200 vanity with the drawers and with the mirror. So I think it's worth it. So I'm going to save one of my side hustles all of November and December and get it for myself for Christmas. And not spending frivolous money so much on like Uber Eats. When I want to, I'll just say, hey, like this is like $10 or $5 that could go towards that vanity. Like that's gonna keep me motivated to not spend extra money that's not accounted for in my budget, if that makes sense. And I'll update you guys on that. I'm gonna make a note of that. Frivolous spending updates and wants. Okay, so I've talked a lot. Let's get into the budget. Alright, let me get my books together. My edges better be, y'all, I'm like having my hair tied down because I'm trying to lay my edges and it's hurting now, so I need to take it off when I'm done. So we are in the second week of October. Let me flip you over. Okay, so here's my calendar. Here's today. So in the second week of October, let me get you guys a little closer. So don't worry about what's in red. Wait, where's my mouse? These things are going to be implemented in November, so just ignore the red. The blue, still have to pay my tithe this month. The green stuff, this is what still needs to be paid. So far, I've already paid my Macy's credit card bill. I've already bought my toiletries and like little snacks and stuff for the month. I already set aside gas money for the car, and my Audible bill has been paid. And I got Taraji P. Henson's book this month. I should have got Michelle Obama's though. I'll get it next month. So that's that, you guys. MK card is highlighted because that's a debt that's gonna get paid off this month. Yeah. So, oh, that was really close. Sorry, y'all. So next week, Netflix, Amazon, and probably my cell phone will be paid off, and y'all will see that in next week's budget. That's the end. Thank y'all for watching and for tuning in. I know this video was longer than usual because I kind of had a lot on my heart to share. But I thank y'all for tuning in. Feel free to like send me topics, more financial topics, more personal finance topics that y'all want to hear about, because I have just like a few more planned and I need ideas. So let me know, and y'all have a great week and continue to budget in abundance and allow God to provide for you. See y'all.